Shut the fuck up.
Welcome to the MichelleHalloween podcast. With me today I have the famous, most amazing artist, musician, writer, conspiracy theorist, the Sammy fucking Ruiz, aka Sammy Ruiz, in my very white accent. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good.
Are you dying from all the sage that's coming at me?
Not
Apparently
yet.
I'm the negative energy today. I'll take it. Not yet, but just let me know when you're uncomfortable. So before I get into letting Sammy talk, I'm so nervous. I feel like I have like the biggest star sitting right next to me. How I met you, Sammy, was I was watching Mike Santana, Death Breath, Brick Creeper, and you popped in there somewhere. I don't know whose podcast you're on, but you popped up, and I'm going, oh, cool, an artist. And then I saw you at Midsummer Scream, and I moseyed on up to you. You were one of the first people that I approached, and you were so fucking kind and warm-hearted, and you didn't pressure me to buy 50 million things from you. And I don't know how we just developed this friendship, but you are one of my best friends. And I love watching you play. I love watching your artwork. I love watching you draw when I get little videos of it. Mm-hmm. Sam is a phenomenal musician and artist. He also is a writer most people don't know. Or do they? I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't tell too many people. I would put these little videos on Instagram where I would write a minute story, because Instagram only allows you to put a minute. So I'd write a story, then I would draw a picture, then I would compose music behind it. And I would post them about 2 years ago, but yeah, I kind of stopped. I got to start doing it.
It's like flash fiction. We'll do it together, you know? Like, it was beautiful. So one of the things I told Sammy that we were going to talk about today, first of all, it's all about Sammy. But there's a quote that I came across about a year ago, and I'm sure it's really old because the Dalai Lama wrote it. And it is, the planet doesn't need more successful people. The planet needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds. This embodies Sammy, if not anything else. So let's talk a little bit about the artist Sammy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Well, who are your inspirations behind the magic that flows into your brain and out of your hand? And here's one of the examples, by the way. Sammy brought this for me today. We have Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, and R.L. Stein. I assume some of your favorite authors.
Yeah.
But artwork. Let's talk artwork first.
Artwork. I think my biggest inspirations for artwork, Mark Davis. Mark Davis was an animator for Disney back in the 50s, 60s. He's probably one of my favorites. Another one would be Francisco Goya. His like demented-ism that he put into a lot of his paintings that was like really twisted stuff. Another one is Ed Roth.
Oh, I never thought you would have a connection to Ed Roth. That's interesting.
I like the Rat Thing kind of stuff. That stuff's pretty cool. Then a lot of like current day artists like Bobby Chu. He's an animator as well, a character designer. Steven Silver. But I love character design.
I noticed. I love your Coraline. I have my favorites already. I told you I'm gonna have a whole Sammy wall of portraits, a whole Sammy gallery.
You got what, 2 up there?
I have 2. No, I have like 2, but I have like 3 that aren't framed because I'm the worst at framing stuff. They'll get up there, Sammy. Don't worry. When the studio's actually permanent, there'll be a whole wall dedicated to your artwork. Yes, he actually framed it.
That's an original.
So that's going up, an original copy. So I'm very grateful. I first saw you play live because Sammy is a phenomenal musician. One-man show at this point at the 5-Star Bar back in October at the beginning of the Halloween season.
Yeah.
We moseyed on in. I think that was the first night I hung out with you, Death Breath, Mandy, Monster in Your Bed Clothing, and I remember it was just this little dive bar in downtown LA decorated in Halloween decor, and you blew my mind that night. My first Sammy show, I was hooked. Your newest album, Ghosts of LA.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, dude. Where did Ghosts of LA come from?
The title, actually, on my phone, what I do is whenever I come up with like little ideas for titles or like lyrics, I have a little notepad on my phone that I type stuff down. And this album was, man, it's been like a work in progress for a lot of years. But when I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's finally do it. So when it came time to doing it, I was like, what can I call this? That's like a big thing. So I went through this little notepad, and I'm like, I had Ghost of Los Angeles. I'm like, it's a little too long. Let's call it Ghost of LA. And that's I'm from LA, an LA native, and I do like spooky stuff. So I think that was a perfect
So perfect, because now it's an anthem in a
Yeah.
sense. You know,
Yeah.
it's like an anthem. My favorite songs are Midnight Sinner, Mr. Nick, Avenue 51. I love the entire album, but you know what really blew my mind, it just shows how amazing you are as a musician, is when I was, I don't even know where we were going, but Chuck was working in his cubbyhole. And this drunken sailor was in his cubbyhole, and I come downstairs, and I'm annoyed as usual. And he's in there fucking, and he didn't know I came down the stairs, and he's just in there jamming to the album. And I watched him for a while. I think I sent you a video. But there's so much power behind Ghosts of LA, the whole entire album. So every time we go and I'm your groupie, I just sit there and I'm mesmerized. I usually try to record, but I'm also like this. My videos, you know, so being one of your groupie, there's so much because every single song has a meaning. You write it, you produced it yourself, you play the music, you sing. What don't you do?
I don't know. I cook. I try to cook.
The fuck? You cook too?
Yeah.
Damn, he's
No.
amazing. Just all around gorgeous. But I just, as a fan and your friend, I admire everything that you do with everything,
Thank you.
everything that I have in me. So I am always, Sammy and I are not married.
Yeah.
He also he's cute and he's shy and quiet, but he does have a little, you're really good at throwing stuff in there once in a while to surprise us all.
I got some demons that like to come out once in a while.
Love it. So let's go on. We know about Sammy's music. We know about his art. Let's talk about what some of our very first conversations. I think it was about weather. We were talking about the clouds.
Yeah.
It was a cloudy day in LA, and you were out there admiring the clouds in the sky. And then we got on to conspiracy theories. We like disasters, and we also like cosmic disasters, shit that scares the fuck out of us.
Yeah. I remember, I do remember those conversations we had on Instagram. Yeah, I think something about the sky that's why I like H.P. Lovecraft so much, because a lot of the stories he wrote were cosmic horror, these freaking demons coming in from the sky. That stuff truly terrifies me.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, that is some scary stuff. But I remember, we was talking about that and the cosmic impacts. Like, I'll have these visions of, like, just of a huge freaking comet coming down. I'm like, holy shit, we're helpless. Nothing we can do.
We're like little particles of dust. I think I was telling you this on Friday, if I was any kind of coherent, because I was so messed up and exhausted and under the influence. We're just like these little living dust particles that just have a consciousness. We're nothing.
Yeah.
And at any given moment, we're sitting here worried about coronavirus and politics and, financial situations. At any given moment, the universe would just throw a little rock at us and we're gone.
Yeah.
Do you ever think like just a little flick of something?
There was someone I was listening to, this guy listening to on YouTube. His name is Randall Carlson, but he studies disasters. And he said something that really struck a nerve, and I didn't really see it this way. But he said Earth is pretty much, he made a good analogy or metaphor. He said, imagine somebody walking across a 6-lane highway blindfolded. That's pretty much Earth.
Yes. And that's insane. Just know, people, we're nothing. And I have a quote, and I'll probably post that later. I'll probably send it to you. But you and I had the opportunity. It's just one of these things that we make magic together every time the squad and us get together. But I remember I had the opportunity to go see The Color Out of Space. Ooh. And I could not think of anyone else to see that movie with other than you. And it's because you're such a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. Mm-hmm. So let's talk. Do you remember what the first story, that H.P. Lovecraft story that you came upon? Yeah.
I stumbled upon H.P. Lovecraft. I'm pretty new to Lovecraft.
Ooh.
I discovered him probably in the last 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So I think the first story I'd come across was on the Chilling Tales for Dark Nights YouTube channel.
And Thank you for turning me on to them, by the way.
Yeah. That's such a cool channel.
I thought I was on to them already, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Keep going.
And one of the stories that their narrators was narrating was, I want to say it was Pickman's Model. And I had no idea it was H.P. Lovecraft, so I was listening to it. And the story, not to spoil the story if anyone wants to listen or read to it, but it's about this artist that would paint these demons that looked so grotesque and real. And at the end, there's a big twist as to why these demons are kind of real and grotesque. But after listening to that story, I'm like, oh shit, this is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. And I did some more research, and I thought it was a current writer that wrote this, but I found H.P. Lovecraft. I'm like, let me look into this guy.
Isn't it crazy how everyone talks about who their influences in the horror industry are, as far as movies, books, and whatnot. I feel like he has the biggest influence.
Yeah.
And the guy never fucking knew. You know, like his impact to this day. Do you think he ever comprehended years like 2020?
Oh, no.
And thought like, where does my vision and my imagination fall into that, or just because he was batshit fucking crazy?
Yeah.
You know, did you ever think that he thought?
I don't think he would have ever known. I think at the time he had passed away, he still wasn't famous. I think he didn't.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Everything was posthumous with him.
Yeah. And I think, there's a lot of like popular people that are super inspired by him. For example, Stephen King. A lot of Stephen King's, like the Pennywise, the creature was like a demon that came in from outer space. And that's very Lovecraftian.
Absolutely.
Who else? Like Batman, Arkham Asylum is Lovecraft.
Yes.
Who else?
I just put that together, by the way.
Yeah.
Not right now, but recently.
Yeah, there's a bunch of...
so many things. Like, I think the first thing I saw was Reanimator. And that's what got me hooked on Lovecraft. And I was like a teenager when I saw Reanimator. And I'm like, no way did a guy who lived in 1904 was able to write something like, I don't know, I can't remember how old he is or was.
I think at the time...
Like Reanimator. Like, how did that... Oh, I was just like, what the hell? Like, how old of a man, a dead man, could make such a great movie? Like, or he didn't make the movie, but had the influence for the movie to be written. Yeah.
And I think the person... to be honest, that the Reanimator movie and the story is probably some of my least favorite of Lovecraft. But I think the movie was so over the top, and that's kind of what he intended for the Reanimator. It was like an over the top, almost comedic horror.
Yeah.
And it kind of the filmmaker, I don't know who made the film for that, but I think they nailed that.
It was so awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. Now, if you were able to talk to Lovecraft today, would you fanboy, or what would you say to him?
Man, what would I ask him? I haven't thought about that. I would probably ask if his demons and Cthulhu and all those are inspired by something mythological.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Or do you ever think he was onto something?
I think he was onto something.
He was onto something,
Yeah.
for sure. Another one of the things that, just attracted me to Sammy as a friend and just this light of a man here was there's this movie that I absolutely loved. People either take this movie or they love it or they hate it. Most people that I've encountered with this particular movie hate it. Not a lot of fans, or are there? Interstellar, phenomenal movie. Phenomenal. Between the music composition, the visuals, the acting. Insane movie, but I cannot grasp the ending. When he entered that black hole again, trying to get back, I don't even think he knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
I think he expected to die. But I've picked this movie apart since it came out. How the fuck, what does the ending mean? So I've asked people, I've watched the movie stoned out of my mind, I've watched it drunk, I've watched it sober, I've tried talking to my husband who claims he knows everything about everything. He gave me a theory about what the end of the movie was about. It didn't make any sense. No one could talk to me about the end of this movie until I met you. Can we talk about what the end of the movie is?
Yeah.
And maybe other people will get it and understand the beauty of the fucking movie?
Well, I will start with saying that I love horror. Most of my favorite movies are horror movies, but this is my all-time favorite movie, Interstellar. And I think, at the end of the movie, what I took from that is he goes into the black hole, and the beings that were pretty much helping Matthew McConaughey and all of the astronauts were them. They were humans. They were future humans. So when he goes into the black hole, they created a tesseract for him for him to be able to gain access to specific moments in time. And that was the way they projected it to him because they didn't know. Man, I get lost in my thoughts.
If his brain was able to handle
right, exactly.
At that moment in that particular, if there was even time, because a lot of the movie focuses on time as a construct.
Yeah.
At that time, for him to be able to grasp what was happening, to give the warning.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the future was made, but it was already premeditated. It just took one split second.
Right.
But I didn't think about that until you brought it up.
Yeah.
All you had to say was Tesseract, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. There was a Tesseract.
know?
And that's why they created that for him, because time for Matthew McConaughey's character at that time was linear. But for these future beings, they were able to access different dimensions, just as they said in the movie. If you go up a mountain, that's, the future. If you go down, that's the past. They can access any point in time. But after watching, I've watched this movie at least thousands of times, and I still catch something. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't see that.
Did we watch it together? No, we tried.
I think we tried.
We tried, but we were with the group. So, I'm sorry. Do you want to weigh in on that? Okay. My very unwell put together podcast here. Everything's random, so relax. Blew my mind when Sammy actually explained it to me, and you explained it to me not in person. We talked about it on Instagram, but it was just that keyword tesseract. I'm like, holy shit, he's right. Different access points. Do you ever think us as human beings will get to that point?
Yeah. And
you think we will?
That's why I started thinking about this movie. The first time I watched it, I seen it in IMAX at the theater. And that shit blew me away. I was like, I had vertigo. I was speechless after the movie because it kind of touched on so many things I really love. But I started thinking about a lot of what they covered in the movie with wormholes. Wormholes, they explained in this movie, were created by man. The Tesseract, the future beings, and I started thinking about us. I'm like, time travel will be possible in the future with us. I don't know if it's going to be 100 years, 1,000 years, but if that's the case, time travelers already exist. They're already here visiting.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. You just blew my mind right now.
Yeah,
they're already here.
I started really thinking about that problem. I'm like, yeah, they're already here.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got to process that. That's terrifying. But it's also very intriguing.
Yeah.
Do you think that people like you and I who have the open mind to actually think about these things and process have something to do with these? Do you think that our future selves, because of course I know we're going to perish at one point. This physical body of yours and mine is going to perish. Do you think that we'll be those visionaries, or I can't think of the other word to describe us? Do you think we'll be the ones coming back, the ones more in tune with and have connections into the metaphysical?
Yeah, I think quite possibly. I like listening to these scientists that study anti-aging, and immortality is going to be a thing. This is like a scientific fact. And they had said something that blew my mind. They said someone that's currently living in our time right now, 2020, will be immortal.
Fuck.
And in the next 5 years, they're going to have like huge developments with anti-aging. That makes me think about a lot of stuff. But I mean, I think science is proving a lot of this woo-woo kind of stuff. For example, I was reading an article that was talking about how they've proved the multiverse.
Fuck.
It's pretty much proof that I think it was astrophysicist Brian Greene that did prove the multiverse. No, not Brian Greene. Sean Carroll.
We talked about this on Friday briefly.
Yeah. So this guy named Sean Carroll, he pretty much proved that the multiverse does exist. So that could prove that our dreams, we are able to access different dimensions.
Do you astral project?
I have before, yes.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually love when I can actually do it. One of the things I haven't talked about publicly, or even amongst my friends, and I know that you'll understand, I kind of wanted to see Dr. Sleep with You.
Ooh, yeah.
You saw it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what killed me, and I thought of you after I was done basically like shitting my pants, was during the scene that Rose had actually astral projected, which was a very small, something that most people who don't meditate or practice astral projection would just overlook. They're like, oh, this is just movie magic. What Rose Hat did in that scene where she just sat on top of that RV and focused on her breathing, which you can hear her do during the astral projection scene when she goes to find the kid.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens to me when I astral project. And I love visiting people when I do it. And I wonder if, please people, let me know if you've ever felt my presence when I wasn't physically there. But when you astral project, you want to enlighten, you said you've done it before.
Yeah.
Just once or many times?
There's been a few times. There was a time, actually it was in a dream.
Okay.
It was in a dream, and it was a nightmare. But I've told a few people this dream, that this is probably the scariest dream I've had, but I do think I was astral projecting. But in the dream, I woke up and I was in my bed in the dream. So I got up, and there was a guy in front of me. He was an older man with like white hair, from what I remember, but he was crying. He was crying in terror, and he was like in my face, and he said, "Please help me, please!" Like he wanted to get away from something. He's like, "It's chasing me." I'm like, "What's chasing you?" He's like, I remember exactly what he said. He said the nocturnal death doctor. I'm like, what? And I'm like, where is it at? And he's like, it's behind me. And in my dream, I was like, again in my room, and I had these guitars in the corner of my room, and he pointed behind him, and I looked behind him, and I could see the the mask, like the Death Doctor mask.
Fuck.
And like it was like pitch blackness. It was beyond black. And I woke up like, holy shit, that shit was fucking real as fuck.
Jeez. That's insane. Have you
Yeah.
ever done any writing about this dream or tried to branch out on it?
Actually, I wanted to turn this into a story.
Let's do it, dude.
Yeah.
No, not me, you. Nocturnal Death Doctor. So
Yeah.
let's look for that in the future. I know you don't have a lot of downtime right now with stuff. So now that I'm like, my mind is blown, I have someone who's actually astral projected and talked about it.
Yeah.
And that does sound like an astral. You don't have to leave and go miles away to astral project. It's just simply that moment that you're able to leave your body.
Right.
Is insane. And I definitely don't. If you practice things like this, just be careful because things like Insidious are real, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe not that bad, but or if you wrote a song about it.
Yeah. I got a bunch of new ideas for the next album. But I want to start incorporating my love for the disasters, the cosmic disasters, I love ancient civilizations. I think we could learn a lot from them. Mm-hmm. And looking into, for example, the Egyptians, they put a lot of emphasis on the Eye of Ra, and that's the same shape of the pineal gland, which releases DMT. DMT is like the most strong psychedelic, and they say you're just not even there anymore when you take this shit, when you smoke it. And but yeah, that allows you to astral project and things like that.
Fuck.
But yeah,
do you want to try it together one day?
Oh shit, I'll be scared.
Okay.
I'll be scared I won't come back from that.
And that's the thing. I'm like, we'll talk about that another time. So the smoke is like, I feel like there's an energy going here, and let's just keep it up. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel it too. So let's change the subject just slightly, just so we don't end up on some astral projection thing while we're conscious.
Opening up a portal.
Right? What if we open one up? Dude, there's one above my house right now. Oh, I could keep going. Why haven't we story wrote together? How come we haven't done that yet?
That'd be a great collaboration.
Right? If we're going to scare the shit out of some people, man. That's insane. So, Sammy, you and I talk about our, we're human beings, but we're also creatives. Mm-hmm. Let's do like 5 minutes on your meditative practices. Because I know you have your dark days.
Yeah.
And, as a friend, I usually pick up on yours. I could pick up on Mandy's. I could pick up on death breaths. I could pick up on energies from the closest people around me, and a lot of people around me. So usually you send out a positive message, though. In your darkness, I find myself in my darkness make time, even though I feel like utter shit, to make someone else feel good. Yeah. So you always seem to do it at the right time. What kind of meditative practices do you use?
Meditative, I think, the one you're just talking about now that's a big one for me. When I'm going through a dark point, I'm like, let me spread some positivity because that might come back to me. And it's going to be beneficial all around for the people that might be going through the same hard time. And also, I think when you're going through rough times, it's not fair to the other person to kind of lash out, which I used to do. I was lashing out on people. But as far as practices that I get into with art and music, a lot of it's just sitting down doing the work. Mm-hmm. Even when I'm in a funk, I start to, not to get woo-woo-ish again, but I'm playing with the idea in my mind after listening to these podcasts and science podcasts and stuff, how they think that we're living in a simulation. So I think about that a lot too. I'm like, dang, we are living in a simulation. We can pretty much alter and control our surroundings as much as we can. I'm like, so what I'm going through might be fake. So let's just
right. No feeling is temporary. That's
exactly.
That's something that's been going around a lot, and it keeps circling back to me. No feeling is permanent. I'm sorry. So I see that as you different realms working around us. You know, I look at, I'm this thing, this grounded being, but I see all the other realms working around, and that's where no feeling is permanent. Yep. You box. Yep. You jog. Did you jog?
I just kind of started running, but I hate it. I can't stand it.
It sucks. Yeah. Someone with big ass tits like me, I did it back in 2012, like the first time I ever ran in my life, and I got addicted to it, but then the minute you stop, it's like, fuck, just don't even bother. Boxing is one of your deals. You and Death Breath are supposed to have a boxing match. Yeah. What else do you write? You draw. you're just a positive person. Like, I always hear about your hangry episodes or when you get annoyed, and I'm like, I want to see that side of Sammy, but I really don't.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, you're just so happy all the time. Every time I see you, you make me feel good, homie. Like, all the time. So I don't know how much time we have on this segment, but I could keep going.
But to touch
Okay.
on that
Yeah, keep going.
the boxing and the releasing of energy, I think we're all like batteries, and we all need to exhaust that excess energy somehow. So through boxing, through exercise, through drawing, through creating music, those are ways for me to release that angst, maybe get a good song or a good drawing out of it, and yeah, move on.
See, in darkness, there's always light.
Yep.
And you are one of those lights. That so many people can actually, I really hope that you guys take the time and look just beyond the fact that Sammy is a great musician. Look what inspires it. It inspires his drawing, inspires his music. In our next 30 minutes, we're gonna get spooky squattish. We're gonna get raw and dirty. But I wanted to just give everyone a glimpse at who Sammy is. You know, at that sweet guy that you encounter at the conventions, the guy that is so grateful and sweet at all of the shows. You have more to you. You're just this. You're a star, a literal star, a ball of gas. But I've never heard you fart. You're always so conservative around us. No, he's not. I'm trying to keep it
Just get to know me.
And that's just it. You're always so welcoming. So I appreciate everything that you've done for me. So we will be back. We're going to have a smoke break. Literally. Be right back. And we're back. I'm with Sammy Ruiz. As you already know, we just talked about some
Deep stuff.
deep shit, dude. So we'll continue on that a little, and then we'll start going on to some more wonkier things that make up for our friendship. So, you just recently drew a picture of Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
What connections or what draws you to Aleister?
Well, to be honest, I really don't know too much about him. And actually, who inspired me to draw Aleister Crowley was my sister's boyfriend. His name is James. Mm-hmm. He's an extreme fan of him, and he kind of, gives me the rundown as to who he was and who he is. So I gained interest in him because he was connected to Jack Parsons, who started JPL. Mm-hmm. I'm super into NASA and all that shit. But I took because James lives in Wales. So he when he comes to visit, I took him to the spot, the Devil's Gate, where they supposedly did some of the rituals and stuff. I took him to the JPL, like behind it, like the mountains that they did a lot of stuff at. But he pretty much gave me some of the rundown as to how they were trying to open up portals to hell, I think. That might be kind of incorrect, but...
No, it's correct.
Yeah, how he just studied the occult. But I think, being that he was connected to Jack Parsons, they probably were onto something.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll revisit that in one of our Instagram conversations, because I could go on for hours about this. We need to go get coffee and, vegan lunch.
Yeah.
I say the Hinterhof is where we should go.
Hinterhof?
It's in, I think that's the place. It's in Highland Park. It's a vegan German food place.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
I think
we'll
I've heard
check
of
it out. So you and I have a lunch date coming.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. All right, so let's get on to the more spooky side of shit. So you've been trying to get the squad and all of us to Cobb Estate. So I'm sure you've been up there.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what are your favorite haunted places that you visited and where do you want to visit?
I think, as far as my favorite, the Cobb Estate was probably the one place where I experienced the most activity. I've been to some of the other ones, such as like the Whaley House in San Diego, the Winchester up in San Jose. What else? This was about 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I took a road trip by myself for my birthday. I drove up from LA all the way up to San Francisco, but on the way I stopped at all the haunted locations that I could find. So Winchester, of course, was one of them. There's one in Santa Paula, I think it is, which is kind of in between Ventura County and LA. There's like this old, I think it's a old motel. Ooh. I wasn't able to go in, but that one seemed kind of creepy. I got some bad vibes from that one. But as far as the creepiest one I've ever been to was Cobb Estate.
Wow.
There was this group that I found on Facebook. They were called Haunted Hikes. Mm-hmm. So we all went up there. There was about probably 20 of us, and we stopped at different places where the most paranormal activity would happen. So we stopped at this place where this nun, I think, hung herself.
Fuck.
Yeah, and there was like some rocks around and stuff. So this lady next to me was sitting on a rock. So we were using a spirit box at the time, and we were all kind of asking questions and stuff. and this lady next to me, she falls off the rock. I'm like, what the hell? I thought it seemed like she maybe got vertigo or something. She just fell off the rock and she started crying really bad. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what happened? I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, something just pushed me off the rock.
Oh.
I'm like, oh shit. And I thought for a second like it was like a joke. I'm like, maybe she's a part of the group and just wants to add to the experience. But no, she was crying pretty bad.
What the
I'm
fuck?
like, oh shit. So that was probably the most intense thing I've ever witnessed at some of these locations.
Have you brought anything home with you?
My mom says yes. My mom's really deep into the energy and bringing home bad vibes. Mm-hmm. But she said, I think it was during a trip that I took to the Whaley House in San Diego.
Wow, really? Yeah. Dang, that's intense. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've heard a rumor through a little birdie that may or may not have red hair that said you're all into these haunted places and you want to go, but you're easily rattled. Is that true?
Yeah.
Are you easily rattled?
Hell yeah. I'm afraid of the dark. when I gotta turn the lights off in the kitchen and I gotta go to my room, I run full speed.
You're one of those? I'm with you, homie.
I'm a big chicken. That's probably why I like scary movies and stuff. The Exorcist. A lot of people I talk to are like, oh, that's not scary. I'm like,
it's horrifying.
That shit is terrifying as fuck.
Right? That's one of my scariest movies. I wrote a blog about it.
Yeah.
That's the scariest movie I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
I don't believe in. I believe in the things that can influence you and so whatnot. But to that level, there's just something about it's her voice, dude. Yeah. It's that, what was her name, Mercedes or Mercy or something that did the voice over for Reagan as the demon.
Yeah.
I think it was the voice, and I think I saw it really young. Apparently now it wasn't young, but because Creepy Cute Jayla, that's one of her favorite movies. Yeah. And I'm going, that's so scary, but she's afraid of Art the Clown. So, yeah, that's horrifying. Yeah. Have you had anything happen to you? Have you been punched in the face by a ghost? Have you felt anything, if you don't mind me asking such questions?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I'd felt was at my house.
At home?
Yeah, at home. I think one of the most intense things probably one of the most intense recent things was the knocking that we get on our closet doors. So my sister's room and my room, we border each other.
Okay.
And between it are these metal type closet doors.
Okay.
So if you hit it, they're really loud. They kind of rattle. And my sister told me, she's like, hey, did you hear the knocking on the closet doors last night? And I sleep pretty deep. I'm like, no, I don't hear nothing. But I finally heard it one night. You know, I wasn't asleep. I didn't wake up. I was still awake in my bed. And something hit the door. And it hit it once at first. And I'm like, what the heck was that? Then it hit it 3 times. There's 3 knocks on that door, the closet door. So, I don't know. I got some logical explanations from different people. I heard that the house may have been shifting because we live on a house with stilts.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I'm like, this doesn't happen all the time. I don't know.
Are you more settled with explanations or the unknown?
I don't know. Both can be scary, kind of, huh?
They're both terrifying.
Yeah.
I kind of get disappointed when things are explained to me, though.
I know. I'm like, God damn it.
Damn it.
Shit.
I'm like, I thought I connected with something or whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So I want to talk to you about The Statue. It is a short story that you wrote for, what was it? It was a creepypasta deal over the Halloween season. It was just recent.
Mm-hmm.
But you've had that story for a while.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking, oh, fuck yeah, Sammy wrote a story. It's going to be on this creepypasta podcast. I'm going to check it out. It's my homie. I will support anything Sammy does. That story scared the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah.
And because I'm thinking, oh, it's Sammy. And I knew it wasn't your voice. It was the guy who read it, did really well, who narrated it. The statue scared the unholy shit out of me because I was lying in bed. It was dark, and I'm really rattled by this. And I remember the next day, I'm telling, Chuck, drunken sailor, I feel like we were going to Kaiser the next day. I can't remember why. And I'm telling him we should listen to Sammy's story. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, but wait, this one's actually pretty fucking scary. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about the statue and what was the inspiration behind writing that tale that gave even MichelleHalloween the heebie-jeebies?
Yeah, the statue, it was inspired by my grandma's house when we had all lived together in Highland Park. Mm-hmm. We lived in some little place called The Hole in Highland Park. But that house was extremely haunted.
Fuck.
And at the time I lived there, I was little. But I remember my grandma having all these religious relics and stuff, statues. And, but yeah, thinking back to those times, I'm like, I'm going to write a story about that.
Woo!
So, but yeah, that's kind of inspired by that, how some of these angel-type statues freaking look like demons. Like gargoyles, right? But yeah, I got to give a shout-out, though, to because it's on 2 different YouTube channels. So the first time it got picked up is when I submitted it to a narrator named Otis Gyrie. This guy, he has his YouTube channel where he narrates his scary stories. So he picked it up, and I got to know him pretty well on Facebook and Instagram. But it also got picked up by the Chilling Tales for Dark Nights.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes,
Yeah.
Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. Woo!
Who was a different narrator that narrates that one. But yeah, that was pretty cool. They have a ton of followers.
Right?
They found that I was an artist too, so they told me to draw a picture that went with the story. So I drew like this creepy gargoyle. But yeah, that was really cool. I got a lot of views. Kind of pissed off some people, I think, and I was reading through the comments because I get nosy. And in the story, there's a character that doesn't really speak too good English, and everyone's like, she should learn English. She's in America.
Oh, God, those people.
Yeah, like, it's a story.
It's a story, and it's that's just how, if you don't, whatever. I try not to read negative comments, but fuck off. I'm just saying, that was a horrifying, it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Damn it, Sammy. So I look forward to you writing more stuff because there's a truth behind it, that there's a real fear behind it. So it is a project that I do want to work with you on that I'll reveal later on, hopefully in 2021. But that, if you can, I'm sure, is it still on? Yeah. I'm sure that if anyone wants to look for the statue, they'll be able to find it on Chilling Tales for Dark Nights.
Yeah, if you just type in my name on YouTube, you'll see it. It's one of the first videos that comes up.
Perfect. And speaking of all the views that you get, can we talk about your experience? I know this is off, not the topics. I just thought of it. The local or live music experience.
Yeah.
Dude, we went to your show on a Wednesday night. You performed at fucking 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We were there on a Wednesday night to see you perform, and you had an interview with the local music experience the next day. And so I was making sure that I listened. That was one of your best interviews ever. And I guess you brought in 1,500 people from across the country listening to you.
Yeah.
Do you ever get... you're Sammy Ruiz. I don't think you'll ever... When you blow up and you're at the stage and you're playing fucking Coliseums, I really think you're always going to just be the same Sammy that we all know and love. I just want to throw that out there. We just love you, dude.
I don't think I'll change.
I don't think you will. And because you're so humble and you're 1,500 people. Oh, thanks, guys. It was so funny because you did that interview. You weren't in the studio. You were in your car doing that, right? You're so professional.
Yeah, I went in my car. The host, Ray C, he's a really cool dude. But yeah, they found me on Instagram and they hit me up and they're like, hey, would you want to call in to do an interview? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was such a good interview, dude. And thanks for all the shout outs.
Yeah.
Dude. I was like, what is he doing? We're supposed to be talking about Sammy.
Yeah, I was shouting everyone out and stuff. But yeah, after the podcast, he had told me, he's like, hey man, there was 1,500 people listening.
That's insane to me.
So I found out, actually yesterday, there was some dude that works for the podcast that went to come see me play yesterday. But he had said the majority of those listeners were from Germany. I'm like, oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So I'm like, that's cool.
What if you get a trip to... That's what we're going to manifest. Maybe that's the big thing for 2020.
Trip to Europe,
You're going to Germany, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That'd
Okay.
cool.
In the nature, I'm still thinking about the statue. I'm good. All right, let's talk about our favorite horror movies. Not my favorite horror movies. Your favorite horror movies. I know one that you're really embedded in right now is Midsummer.
Yeah, Midsummer, that one just really disturbed me. A lot of people didn't like it.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Hereditary was great. Because that guy, Ari Aster, has a fresh mind that he's bringing to the...
I love what he's doing for our genre.
And they're not so kind of spelled out for you, how some of the more, more popular horror movies can be now. But I think my favorite, which a lot of people haven't seen, but one of my favorites is The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
So underrated.
Yep.
It's horrifying. Did you know when he is, and that one part, spoiler alert, one of the parts where I think it's towards the end, and he starts panic breathing. He's like, he's having that moment. That was his son. He got that from his kid when he was little, his son.
Oh, really?
Yes. He used to suffer from, I don't want to incorrectly state what condition his son suffered from. But that's why I love Johnny Depp. He was born before he was born too early type of guy.
Yeah.
But that one scene where he was, just that hysterical breathing, he got from his child. So it's insane. Let's talk about why you love The Ninth Gate, though.
So The Ninth Gate, so Roman Polanski, he's a strange director. But it talks about books. He's a book detective, and he's investigating this book that was supposed to be written by Lucifer and another co-author. But yeah, as he gets into it and stuff, he starts finding that the illustrations were illustrated by Lucifer. Some of them were illustrated by the other author. And at the end, it just kind of comes together, and he opens up the ninth gate of hell. But I thought it was really cool. It's like
it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
It makes Lucifer look bad, but it's a good movie. I mean, but that's what society wants. But I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I remember no one likes that fucking movie except for you. It's kind of like I found out that I'm not the only one who likes Showgirls. Like, we're supposed to be friends.
Yeah. That's great, but I love that movie.
Such a good movie.
Then The Exorcist, of course, that one scares the hell out of me. Which other ones? I like the Conjuring movies, maybe not so much the more recent ones, but I love Insidious.
Insidious is terrifying.
Yeah. Insidious Part 1, that was freaking scary.
More astral projection shit right there. And I just met Lynn Shay.
Oh,
yeah, I just met her, and I'm thinking, I always thought, one of the first movies I saw her in, again, because I'm always late to stuff, was Detroit Rock City, which is not a horror movie. But she's what's his name's mom.
Yeah,
and she's just this mean, so meeting her in person, I thought I'd be intimidated, especially after Insidious.
Yeah.
She's great.
Real nice.
But Insidious is terrifying.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about this horror movies, it's so scary, this movie. No one talks about Insidious. So I think you and I need to, elaborate on that a little more.
Yeah. Insidious,
what scares you about it?
I think the astral projecting, because I did, before watching it, I realized that was a real thing. And yeah, accessing those different realms or dimensions that you can possibly get stuck in. So that was scary. But I mean, I think in addition to movies, I do like a lot of books, and I think books can be scarier.
Hell yeah.
But probably the scariest book I haven't finished reading it, but would be Hostage to the Devil, which was by Malachi Martin, who is a Jesuit priest, or an ex-Jesuit priest, who pretty much wrote 5 different stories. I believe it's 5 different stories in the book about exorcisms that he performed.
Fuck.
Yeah, and that shit's terrifying. It's really
and it's
scary.
real. So
yeah.
this isn't even this is fiction. This is a fiction work, or is it? Oh shit!
They're all like true case accounts of exorcisms.
And this is stuff that I'm interested in too, because I want to know, like, don't spoil it. We'll talk about this another time, but that's horrifying. So books terrify you.
Yeah.
I just recently discovered Clive Barker. I know that sounds ridiculous to hear for my followers, the 3 that are watching. Clive Barker, have you ever read anything from him?
No, I know the name, but I've never read.
Because we only know him from like horror movies and like Hellraiser, which is horrifying, but he's a phenomenal writer. And I didn't know how good he was until I picked up Colors of Blood from the local library. And I have yet to return it. It's been months because I don't want to let it go. I don't want to lapse.
Yeah.
But it's tremendous and it's fucking scary, dude.
Yeah.
He has a mind, and I can't wait to meet him at Midsummer Scream. I want you to be there with me.
Yeah.
Or not Midsummer Scream, Monsterpalooza.
Okay.
Woo! Okay. So let's go back. Let's circle back to Midsummer really quick. It had a lot of. It didn't terrify me or unsettle me as much as Hereditary did. But Midsummer has a lot of pagan practices in it. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't give a shit. You need to watch it. It's been out for almost a fucking year. There's things that I looked up afterwards because I like watching Ari Aster movies more than once.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with Hereditary.
Yeah.
I've only been able to watch it once. And I bought it. I thought I'd be okay watching it at home. I'm not okay.
It scared you that much?
It's not that it unsettles me. It makes me feel really, really bad.
Yep.
It makes me, it's like true terror, like terror that you can't speak of.
Yeah.
But, and it has a lot to do with like the Toni Collette's character in the movie. She, as a mom who has mother issues herself, and then the struggle with teenage kids, and then I don't want to ever lose any of my children, but I'm just saying it was just, that performance was insane.
Yeah.
But as far as Midsummer goes, did you know going into the movie about all the pagan practices in it?
No. I think when I first heard about the movie, I was super excited because I'd seen Hereditary. I'm like, man, this guy makes some creepy movies.
Right?
And I looked into Hereditary and realized all the research he did for the movie and how Paimon was a real king of hell.
Yes.
I'm like, oh shit, that makes it even scarier.
Right?
So going into Midsummer, I thought it was going to be a supernatural movie, just like Hereditary was. So I remember the first trailer that they released. There was a scene in the trailer where one of the characters was levitating. So I assumed, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a paranormal movie. But when I watched it, I still really good. But I'm like, okay, it's not paranormal, but it's still equally disturbing.
Yeah. because humans are fucking terrifying. When we get something in our mind and we want to control it, woo! Nothing was wrong with what they were doing in their eyes. So please watch Midsummer weigh in. I would love to talk about it more, but let's get on to some other things. Let's talk about Raw Sammy a little bit. Let's talk about the Spooky Squad. Just give us your thoughts on all of us really quick.
So my thoughts, I think there was something more at work that brought us all together, because our energies are extremely strong.
I'm almost going to cry over it because you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I have a gut feeling that fame, and maybe fame's the wrong word, but just good fortune's going to come with all of us.
Absolutely.
Individually, but because we're all together, that's going to happen. But my thoughts, I don't know, I like, there's different, it's like almost like I see everyone as a big, like in Power Rangers when they all come together. Whatever the big monster was, but all the different pieces work together.
I smell a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Power Rangers. For such a stupid, simple name, there's a lot of power between the squad members. So that's why people approach us and they're like, "Oh, we're fans of what you guys do," and I'm like. Usually I pick up on the energy and I'm like, yeah, I don't think you understand what we're really about.
Yeah.
We are fucking crazy. We do have a lot of wild times, but let's talk about our magical moments.
Yeah.
Well, first, before I get into that, what is it like for you as one of the males in the Spooky Squad being around us horny ass women?
You know what? Actually, I'm around a lot of women as it is with my family. So, I don't know. There's very feminine sides to me.
Okay.
So I'm able to kind of relate. Most of my best friends ever are females.
Yeah.
So I feel at home and I feel comfortable.
We're not overly horny with you.
That's okay, because I'm the same way.
Let's see here. What would be your most? I know we're just new at this. I mean, I think we all started really connecting at our tamale orgy. What is your most memorable Spooky Squad moment to date?
I think there's perhaps some I can't talk about. But,
oh shit!
But you know what?
No, yes you can. Just don't say who. How about that? Let's leave it to people's perspectives. Was it the dead? Is he dead?
Yeah, I think just there was a certain experience, and there was a few words that came out of that experience. And is he dead? That's an inside joke, but yeah, I think that's probably the most memorable, the most shocking. But actually, there was actually one of my favorite experiences was when we all went to the Son of Monsterpalooza.
Yes.
When we all linked up there.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I just felt like, because I don't think we knew each other that well at the time. But
we did it.
I was with yourself and Mandy and Mr. Death Breath, and I'm like, man, I'm having a really good time.
Right, at a show that wasn't that whelming.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of shit from you. I remember I came out. Because I went for you, I think, and Death Breath was like, just go, and I go, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, well, the worst thing could be this, but the best thing is I need some Sammy artwork, and you had your backpack, and you just started pulling shit out, and I'm like, yes! Let's see here. Let's talk about when we met Rob Zombie. I'm going to tell my side of that story, and then you tell your side of that story. So, you've heard the story, if you've read my blog, about how one of the most predominant magical experiences we had was when we met Rob Zombie. We were making tamales. The energy was good here at the MichelleHalloween dungeon. We're making tamales. We're having a good old time. And we were talking mad shit about Rob Zombie. It's not a secret. We were talking shit. So literally that night, I had like 3 things that I could have done. Mm-hmm. I could have gone to one event, or another event. And one of the ones that most of the squad was attending was Monster Under Your Bed Clothing Mandy was go-go dancing for the Dos Ferratu. And so I'm thinking, first of all, and I was thinking like money-wise, it was close to Christmas. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Drunken Sarah said, fuck it, let's just fucking go to the Viper Room and watch Mandy dance. Mm-hmm. We get there. Everything was okay on the way there. We see you and Ruby in line at the Viper Room. And then we get in line with you guys. We're having a good old time. And then Skelly Girl finds that she forgot her wallet. Yeah. Her ID was missing. Energy went to shit. And so I'm the mother of things, and I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? Batty was vending. The energy just changed. Everyone got kind of in a bad mood. In a bad mood.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to watch Mandy dance. And we're going to bounce, because what are we going to do? We're not going to leave Karen in the car with her non-ID holding ass. As we left, you, me, Mandy, Drunken Sailor, Linda, went out to go for a smoke break. When the door chick was like, stand at the side, fucking Rob Zombie walks in. Sammy is a musician who has played with Rancid. Well, you opened for Rancid, Pennywise, you met Mike Ness. You should be used to encountering such greatness, even though we weren't saying that he was great 6 hours before. Literally, he walks right past us. You tell your side of the story. I don't remember anything coming out of my mouth. I remember going, and your face was the only one I saw. Sammy had this face of like pure, like a little boy who just met or just orgasmed in his pants for the first time. We walk out and we all went crazy. And the story is magic. You've heard the tale of how we all went to Rob Zombie. He was fucking nice to us after we've heard hundreds of tales of him not being nice to anybody. And he was really cool with us. He took pictures with us. He was cool. Sherry Moon. Holy shit, that night ended up being one of the best nights of our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Karen got into the Viper Room and Bar Sinister that night. So magic does happen when the Spooky Squad is together. Your turn, Mr. I'm used to being performing, but in the presence of someone like Rob Zombie, I make this face that I can't even describe.
Yeah. So the point that really just changed, because I remember the energy was kind of down because Karen wasn't able to get in because of the ID. But I remember we're all smoking on the side of the door, and I remember just hearing you, oh shit. I'm like, what just happened? So I look and I see Rob Zombie walk in with Sherry Moon Zombie. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was speechless.
Yeah, you were.
And so he walked into the group, or into the Viper Room, and we were all kind of huddled to the side. We're all talking about, oh, Rob Zombie's here. I remember he comes back out. And the moment he crosses us, we're dead silent.
Yeah, we got quiet. We were like...
we're like...
And then as soon as he was gone, out of like hearing view, we erupted into like fucking groupie mode.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sammy, you were the best, dude. Like, just your face was epic. I'm gonna draw it. And then you're gonna make it into a professional drawing. Sammy's face when he met Rob Zombie. Best thing of my life. We only have a few minutes left. Do you want to give any shout outs or anything that... What are we going to do for 2020? What do you see happening for 2020?
2020, I do feel that there's a lot more positive energy. 2020 has been a crazy intense year. Some bad, a lot of good. 2020, I'm going to definitely get more drawings out. I want to get better as an artist. I really do focus on that. Put out another CD. I have another album in the works. I'm really, really hoping that I go on tour. I want to go to Europe to go play. But and I think overall, aside from art and music, just kind of become a better person. Let go of some of those old bad things that I used to kind of hold on to. A lot of the past, and we hold on to the past and stuff. But yeah, just enjoy life, enjoy each moment because it is short.
Oh man, isn't he the fucking greatest? Sammy, thank you for taking the time to be on my ridiculous podcast.
No, thank you.
This wouldn't have happened, honestly, if it weren't for you and Mandy. I mean, you guys planted the seed for this MichelleHalloween ridiculousness, so thank you.
No, thank you. I was telling Mandy, I'm like, because you're an amazing writer, and I read through your blogs and stuff. I'm like, but Michelle has an incredible personality. She has to be on camera, and I know it's going to blow up. So thank you for allowing me on, because it's going to be huge. It's going to get past the level of some of the bigger horror type podcasts, like Creeping Kingdom.
Yeah. Dread Central, Fangoria.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we have some magic to work on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you.
Give me love. Peace out. Follow Sammy Ruiz, damn it.
Shut the fuck up.